Well, good luck to them. Nice and flat at the start. Oh, but there will be hills.
There will be soreness.
There will be soreness and there will be sore bottoms by the end of it. We'll keep an eye on that for you over the next couple of days. The time coming up to 9:05.
For more than 25 years, she dazzled us with her math skills on Countdown. Now Carol Vorderman's on a mission to help children improve their understanding of the subject online.
Mathsfactor.com is a structured maths school for children as well as their parents. And the sessions include video teaching and musical times tables, interactive games. Before we talk to Carol about it, hello.
Hello.
We're going to take a look at one of her online sessions. Here it is.
Each child will have 5 compulsory sessions each week, lasting up to 20 minutes, depending on their age. Every Maths Factor session will have teaching from me in bite-sized video lessons from our TV studio. Absolutely nothing will be left out. They'll then continue to learn the tiny part of maths we're concentrating on with them at that time in interactive games or by watching maths to music.
3 times 2 is 6.
Now shout out the answers.
Get ready. Come on. 1 times 8 is...
But ultimately, they will practice, and then they'll practice again using the proper language of maths and its symbols. It simply is no better.
Well, there we are, Carol. That's how it works. Just explain, first of all, what you think the problem is that you think needs solving.
Well, OK, where do we begin? There was a change in the structure of how maths was taught about 10 years ago. And a system was put in to help teachers as much as possible with a new national curriculum and so on. It was called the National Numeracy Strategy when the numeracy hours started. And it was meant to be a guideline for teachers, and unfortunately, for those who wanted help, unfortunately, it has become, not legally compulsory, but it has become virtually a compulsory system that teachers must follow, many against their will. And consequently, the CBI and so on have said that numeracy skills are actually declining in schools, and it's something I've been heavily involved in over the last year. But
You've been talking to the Conservatives as well, haven't you?
Exactly, which is an entirely separate piece of work.
Yep.
But because of Countdown, and obviously because I am obsessed with maths. Sorry about that, Sian, but I am.
No, nothing to apologise about.
And over many, many years, I've written lots of books and about Sudoku and to help children at home and so on and so forth. And what I've always wanted to do, ultimately, was to put the very best system together that's possible to put together. And this is the world first. It's the first structured maths school online. And I've got a wonderful team back in Bristol, about 30 of us who've been building this for the last year. And it's there so that it's basically an extension of a book, but 1,000 times over. So it has a very small subscription. Millions of children are receiving.
How much do you have to pay?
Well, for times tables, and it can take up to 6 months, and for that you get the 5 sessions, and you get a lesson from me all the time, and all of the wonderful tips and tricks. It's less than £20, and it can take you. You could have me teaching you every night of the week for all of that time.
So about £20, less than £20 a month. That's a monthly fee, is it?
No, that would be for the whole thing for times tables.
For the whole thing?
Until you've learned up to 12 times 12 with every pattern, every trick, absolutely everything is there. And the children, by the end of that, would have an absolutely deeply embedded knowledge, not only of the answers, but of the patterns between numbers, because it's about patterns. And for arithmetic and algebra and so on, that's at £10 a month. That would be. But I bring in the parents. This is the one thing, because we did a survey for this, and more than half of parents don't understand a lot of the new methods which are taught in schools.
And the language.
And one of the things that we also know is that about 50% of a child's education comes from the home, particularly in the early years. So if you read with your child, it embeds the teaching that happens in school. The same with practising. And yet with the new methods that have been introduced, more than half of parents have no idea how to do it. So it's causing all these issues at home. So that embedding at home can't take place. So we help the parents as well. They get an email every 3 or 4 days, and they can preview the lessons. I teach the parents what to do, and they have printouts of games that they can play away from the computer and all of that. Just kind of got everything.
What about the pace of learning? Because if you're learning one-on-one, or you've got a coach, people have, they spend a lot of money on tutors, don't they? And that's an alternative means of doing it.
Absolutely.
That way you can have a clear idea of how quickly someone's learning. Now, how do you is it specified already how fast you're go through this process?
No.
Somebody might learn very
No,
quickly.
what
How
happens
does
is
that work?
everything is in real time. So the children are marked and timed constantly, but everything is about the love of numbers and telling them just how brilliant they are and how hard they're working. It's all of that kind of feel. And so the feedback to parents will never have had feedback like they have through this system, and it's something that I deeply believe in. So, for instance, if your child was on and they were doing, let's say, 9 times table, and they were halfway through, and we, in real time, because of the technology that's behind it, know that they're having a problem, we pull them out and say a nice little thing to them, and then they come back and do it tomorrow. Instantly, the parent is emailed to say, there's been a problem tonight. Can you just preview the lessons again? Can you sit with them tomorrow? Can you do that? You know, everything is in real time. But also, every night, everything is marked, and, of course, there's an automatic process. So if the child has done particularly well, if they've done it in particularly good time, then they're speeded through the system.
Can I just ask you one thing? I mean, this is a business you're running here.
It is.
Is there an implied criticism, the fact that you're having to do this, that there's something wrong in the education?
No.
I mean, it seems inevitably that is what you're saying, that the maths is not going right, which is why there's a market for what you're doing.
There's been a market with maths tuition for decades and decades, and I've been selling books for 20 years, as well as many, many, many other people. So, yes, there is a market for it. There's always been a market for extra tuition of some description or other. But what I really believe we've done here is provided the very best online tuition at the very cheapest prices. People are paying up to £6 an hour for tuition in London. You could have 6 months with us for that.
Do you think there's a cultural difference in this country when it comes to maths than in other European countries? And why is that?
It's the same in America. It seems to be a particular malaise here, and I think that for instance, if I sat here and said to you, oh, it doesn't matter, I never read a book, why do I want to read a book? You go, oh, dreadful, isn't that dreadful? What a culturally inept person she is. But it's perfectly acceptable to say, well, I don't do maths, I don't need it. And it's, you know, when you say that to a child constantly, oh, it doesn't matter, oh, it's hard, they will believe it, particularly if the parent is saying it. And obviously, in our house, they go, oh, we've got maths homework tonight. Yes, marvellous. You know, so it's completely the opposite attitude. But this is something, again, through the whole of the maths factor, the way that we're teaching and the way that we're encouraging parents is to say, right, this is the very specific thing that you mustn't do. So if they're doing tens and units, whenever you're saying the digit in the tens column, it must be 2 tens. 7 units, and then the parent is guided through, so the parent is embedding the knowledge in exactly the right way. And there's great encouragement. So we are the mathsfactor.com. We're not the X Factor, we're the Maths Factor. So we don't go like that, we go like that with a plus sign.
Good luck to them.
A test sheet in there, but we sadly don't have time. We don't have time.
I was going to show you a trick
for tomorrow.
Thank
you, Carol.
Thanks
nice
very
to
much.
see you again.
Lovely
Carol
to see
Vorderman.
you.
That's it from us today. Tomorrow's show, Kim Cattrall talks about her current role on the West End stage. That's in Noel Coward's Private Lives.
And Dermot O'Leary explains why he's getting involved in politics. Thanks very much for being with us this morning. Happy St David's Day. Sorry about the lack of daffodil. Not allowed. See you tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Bye-bye. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Not allowed.